Good morning. Today I came down to Bellevue, and there's a place called like Bellevue Municipal Park or something like that. And you can see it's got this nice little waterway, leads right up into the buildings, get the reflections. I'm using my infrared camera right now. You can see what I've got going on. So I get this in the computer, that will all turn red. And then when I put it into Photoshop, then I can adjust everything and get it to look like it's supposed to. So there's more processing with infrareds than there's normal photo, but it's a pretty cool look. So I'm just waiting for sunrise. It is, what time is it? It is 6:40. Sunrise is in about 45 minutes or so, I think. So I'm just gonna kind of wander around a little bit, see what else I can come up with, because the biggest thing is you don't want to set your tripod down and then that's it. You have your legs down and you don't move. So always, even though you have your tripod, make sure you move around a little bit. But I think I've seen a few runners running around the circle. I guess it's a half-mile loop around this park. So I'm just gonna probably get on my other camera as well, start getting those photos, because I can see some light coming through the clouds. Hopefully they'll light up today, but you never know until you show up and just get some shots in. So we're getting into blue hour, and the best part about blue hour is all the detail. So I've shot the city at night before, but it's just not much detail in anything. But now, as the sky starts to turn a little blue, as you can see here, there's just a lot of detail in the buildings, you know, in the sky and everything. And it's only about, you know, at least when during sunset, it's about 15 minutes. And then it just gets too dark. But before then, it looks really nice. So I'm just gonna sit here. This is my normal camera again, my Sony. I got rid of the infrared camera. And you can see, hopefully you can see it. They're starting to get some light coming through the clouds here, especially over there. And the sun's supposed to be rising from over there, but hopefully, I can't see the horizon, but hopefully there's a break on the horizon and the clouds will light up really nice this morning. So I'm just gonna sit here, change my composition a little bit, see what else I can come up with, and then hope for sunrise. So I moved back from where I was. What happens is the building, seeing the water, it shifts that way, farther and farther, the farther back I go. So came back a few steps, I guess, and now, as I've been taking photos, I've noticed the clouds are moving. So I threw on my 6-stop leaf filter, and I've got a 6-minute 40-second exposure going. It'll actually be shorter just because it's getting brighter as the sun comes up. So I'll probably stop it around like 5 minutes 30 seconds or something like that, just so I don't have blown out highlights. So otherwise, just still waiting for the sun to come up, hoping. Looks like there could be some color, but we'll find out soon, I hope, because it is getting close to sunrise. But otherwise, I'm just waiting for this to count down, and then I'll probably throw on my infrared camera again, because I haven't used it very much lately. I don't know, I kind of like the look of the infrared. I think it's the 630 nanometer filter that's on it, so it gives you more false color versus black and white. I've been thinking about changing it out for the 800 and some nanometer, which is strictly deep black and white, but that's going to have to wait for a little bit. So I'm just going to wait for this exposure to finish up, and hopefully it'll turn out pretty good. Good news is, starting to get some color. You can see up on the building, up in the clouds, a lot of it over that direction. Of course, not the direction I'm facing. That's all right, still getting some color. So hopefully, all these will turn out. I am bracketing my shots. I'm going 2 stops above and below the normal exposure. So hopefully it'll bring out the detail, bring out the color, and then I'm just gonna keep shooting until the color goes away. And then we'll get them on the computer and see what it looks like. Well, I think I'm done shooting sunrise. I'm gonna head home, get a little bit of breakfast, second breakfast, I guess. And then let's get to the photos on the computer, and I'll show you how they look when I edit them. So I made it home. I got my photos opened up in Lightroom. You can see here's one from sunset or sunrise. You can see here's the middle one, the dark one. Then one during blue hour. You can see here. So it's done loading. Show you what it looked like straight out of the camera. So here's straight out of the camera. So let's go ahead and do a quick edit with this one. So first of all, let's add a little bit of yellow to it to kind of brighten it up. Let's bring down the highlights a little bit. Bring up the shadows. Bring up the white point. If you hit option and then click, you can see all the white dots are blown out highlights. So drag that up. You know, I don't really mind that there's a couple lights that are blown out. That's to be expected. And the same thing with the blacks. Hold the option key or the alt key, and as you drag it down, you can see what's not, doesn't have any data in it. So drag that down just a little bit more. Add a little bit of contrast, a little bit of magenta. Let's go ahead and make a S curve. And come down here to the calibrations. We drag the blue one out. You can see how that gets more blue in the sky. Green kind of does the same thing. So actually we'll just go ahead and leave those ones alone. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of vignetting. Just kind of so we can, you know, highlight the city. Go to remove chromatic aberration. And then I use my Canon, the 16-35, to the lens calibration. So that brought it up. Now let's go ahead and a little bit of brush. To do this, just kind of a little bit of exposure. We'll just kind of brush in around the trees here, kind of up on this building a little bit. Maybe that one as well. Maybe down here a little bit too. Now let's turn this on and off. We can see the difference. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And actually with that, we can actually add a little bit more magenta. Let's go ahead and do it just a little bit more. Something kind of like that. Now we turn this on and off again. There you go, that'll work. Then really, maybe just a touch of saturation, just a little bit of vibrance. I think that's really about it for this one. See once it loads up, you know, all these red dots are blown out highlights. See, as if we drag the highlights all the way down, you know, a lot of them start to disappear. But when you do that, the photo just kind of gets a little bit, it's not too bad. So we'll leave it like that. There you go, and that's that one. And with these ones, during the sunrise, I mean, there's several ways you can do this. We need to take, like this photo. Let me go ahead and reset all my settings. So we have this, and you can see we're not blown out here yet, so we can increase the exposure. Actually, let's leave the exposure. So we can bring up the shadows, we can bring up the white point, and then we can actually do a graduated filter, bring it up, kind of darken a little bit, add a little bit of yellow, a little bit of magenta, something like that. Add some contrast. Let's go ahead and do the profile correction. Remove chromatic aberration, profile correction, same thing, Canon 16-35. See what that did there. Let's go ahead, if we add a little bit of blue, let's kind of highlight everything. Okay, that looks pretty good. So from here, let's make sure we're sharp. Once it loads up, yeah, it looks like we're good and sharp. Now from here, let's go ahead and open this up in Color Effects Pro 4 and really bring out some of the details in it. So Color Effects Pro 4 is open, and you can see Pro Contrast is the default one that opens up on from my settings. You can see a little bit of difference that it makes here. Let's go ahead. So you can drag that down. So it adds a little more yellow to it. Just kind of add some brightness. Let's bring that down. Remember, subtlety is always the key with this stuff. Go ahead and move this all the way over. Bring that down some more. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the tonal contrast. And defaults are too high. Go with 10, 15, 10, 10. Now we want to make sure. So if we add, so you can see there's no control points yet. Let's go ahead and add some control points here. And these will change the amount of the effect has. So I just clicked on the plus button. So let's kind of bring this around in the city here. Add some extra contrast to it. Now you can see if we hit the sign, the little button there, you can see how everything white is going to be affected and everything black is not. So you can see there's some effect in the sky. And the problem with tonal contrast is that it adds a lot of noise and weird stuff to the sky. So I always try and get rid of it from the sky. So if you click on the negative button, it will delete it as you just drag these around. And I try and add quite a few just to really negate the effect. Something like that. I don't know if we click on this. Now you can see how none of the sky is really affected. A little bit of this cloud. I'll add extra to this building here. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Just click on another one of these. Drag it up to there. Make it a little smaller. Kind of drag it around. And let's go ahead and do some of these. Oops. Makes it a little smaller. Just kind of drag it around. Now hit that. So now it's more of the building, less of the sky. Okay, so now from here, let's go ahead and add another filter. Let's hit the skylight filter. See, this one just kind of adds a little bit of magenta tone. See, as we turn it down, turn it off, you can see it adds just a little bit. So that looks pretty good. You can see where we started, there to here. So go ahead and save that, and it'll open back up in the Lightroom. Okay, so now we're back in the Lightroom. There's really not much left. Let's go ahead and add. Let's go ahead and do some little bit of sharpening. Drag this up and drag these all the way down. And click Option and then Mask. Remember, black conceals, white reveals, so only the white parts are being sharpened, which is really just the corners of the buildings here. That looks pretty good. A little bit of noise reduction here. Just kind of smooth that out a little bit. That looks pretty good. Let's look for any spots in the sky. Needs to be like that one right there. That's a pretty one. Let's go ahead and make this a little smaller. On that, make that one go away. Drag this around a little more. I think that looks pretty good. A couple of clouds And maybe I'll get rid of those two. They're just kind of, don't really belong. Click on that. Click on that. All right, that looks pretty good. So I'm done with that. The only thing I don't like is this concrete barrier. So I could open up in Photoshop and get rid of it, but my computer's running really slow today, so I'm not going to worry about it. Let's add just a touch of vignetting here. By doing that, kind of probably too much blue. Let's go ahead and desaturate some of the blue. Come up here, kind of drag this down a little bit. Just a little bit like that. You're done with that. Now, let's go ahead and just kind of bring up some highlights here. Just kind of a little bit in through here. A little bit into the building. How's that look? Let's go just a little bit more. And a little bit in through here as well. Remember, reflections are always supposed to be darker. So never make your reflections brighter than the actual subject. I think that looks pretty good. Nice and subtle. And I think we'll call that good. So between, we got this one, we got that one. Assuming it opens up. There it is. So I kind of like this one a little better because there's less sidewalk here. I think I just kind of prefer the colors a little bit over this one here. Yeah, because you know this one just has a little bit, all these leaves are in the ground here, but that's all right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find me on Instagram at RandyBotPhotography. And here are the two photos I just showed you. Then.